Well, we have big plans to do stuff outside today, but the wind picked back up. It laid a little bit about daybreak. It was windy before daybreak this morning. It calmed down. Now it's about 20 mile an hour out of the north. It's bright and sunny, but it's cold, and we get where we don't like to get out in the big winds anymore. We're just more susceptible to getting sick than we used to be, so we try to be careful. But I've been thinking about a story. Well, it's not a story; it's true. But and I want to talk.
Well, wait a minute. You only tell.
The others, all the others is
Make it up.
make believe.
That's
No,
funny. They're
but
all
anyway, it's
all true.
It's kind of a history thing, and it's about Susie, and it's all bad. No, it's not. It's about her ancestors. One of her aunts done a genealogy thing several years ago on the family. She followed it on Susie's granny's side, and it went all the way back. She traced it all the way back to the Mayflower. And I don't know anything about genealogy or that, but her ancestors eventually moved into the Carolinas. I think South Carolina is where they were at for a long time. She did trace them back to the Pilgrims, or the people that came over here from Europe originally, and to one a doctor that was on the Mayflower. But what got me curious about most of it was the people in South Carolina, where and one of her direct ancestors was a fellow by the name of James Butler Bonham. Now, a lot of people that have never been to Texas or never lived in Texas wouldn't recognize the name, but about all Texicans and part-time Texicans would recognize the name. He was one of the people at the Alamo. He was highly thought of before the Alamo, when he was a lawyer in South Carolina. I believe it was in Red Bank, South Carolina. What is Red Bank, South Carolina now? And he got into a lot of trouble when he was young, going to college. He became a lawyer, and he led a protest because of the conditions at the school and the cafeteria, the boarding house where he lived, and I think he got kicked out for a time. And then he took a cane, and I think he kind of whooped up on a guy that made disparaging remarks about his client that he had at the time when he was a lawyer. But he took a cane to him and worked him over a little bit. And when he went to court before the judge on that charge, the judge was berating him. Stubbornness runs in that family, I believe. But the judge was getting on to him, and he made the statement, and it's documented, "I'll come up and tweak your Honor's nose." And I believe he got either 60 days or 90 days in jail for that. I don't know if he's served the whole time, but some of the local young ladies, he was young, he was in his early 20s, thought that was just such a hero. They brought him home baked goods, home cooked meals and stuff while he was in jail. But anyway, he was a big critic of Andrew Jackson, the same way Davy Crockett was, over the Indian situation, the Trail of Tears for one thing, the relocation of the Indians to Oklahoma. And he had a second cousin that would be Susie's relation too, that probably is more well known. His last name was Travis, He was the commander of the Alamo when it was surrounded and when it was overrun. William Barrett Travis was his name. For years, it was said that they were just childhood friends, but people dug into it more and more over the years, historians, and it's believed now, and I think it's pretty well documented, that they were second cousins. Susie's direct descendant was a woman named Naomi Bottom, and I forget what relation she was to James Bottom, but I don't remember her birth date and time of death. But anyway, this James Bottom, I believe he was 26 when he went. He went in 1835 to Texas. He stopped in New Orleans, and he raised a militia, a regiment of militia, to go fight. There's a lot of different opinions about the people that were involved and what it was about, and slavery. But there's good and bad in everybody, I think. But anyway, he went, and he started rising up. He was really what you call now gung-ho for the cause. He did start a practice there, I believe, but he got involved with the military, and he got acquainted with Sam Houston. I imagine a lot of people know about him or have heard the name. And Sam Houston thought highly of him because he was a great organizer of men, and he was fearless. Well, he ended up, I believe, a lieutenant, some higher rank in cavalry, in the Texas cavalry, and he made his way to the Alamo. I believe he went down there with Jim Bowie. Now, Jim Bowie was a resident of San Antonio at the time. He was married into kind of a noble family, a Spanish family or a Mexican family. And there's a lot of controversy about his life, and, you know, things that he did, things that he didn't do. But anyway, they ended up at the Alamo, and they were actually supposed to blow it up. Jim Bowie was supposed to, I believe he was the one that was supposed to, because they didn't think they could hold it. Sam Houston was wanting to he was trying to build an army at the time, and he didn't want to leave anything there for the Mexican army to benefit from, because it had some pretty good cannons, some of the best cannons west of the Mississippi at that time. But once they got there, Jim Bowie, William Barrett Travis, I believe he was already there, and there was kind of a feud between those two. They were, you know, some people wanted to follow Bowie and some people wanted to follow Travis, but they finally worked it out. Back to Bonham, James Bonham, he became, he was part of the cavalry. I believe he became a captain, such. But anyway, they sent him out. Travis sent him out several times to raise help, and I believe he went to a guy by the name of Phantom. He had, at that time, this I believe he was a colonel, might have been a general, but I believe he was a colonel. His name was Phantom, and he had the largest army in Texas at that time. He was at Goliad, and he couldn't get to him in time, but Bonham came back, and he was supposed to be the last one to come back in, and it was surrounded when he came back in, but he broke through the lines to get back, and on his way there, somebody told him that it was hopeless and he couldn't get back in. And he said, well, my duty is to report to my commanding officer. And he went, and he went anyway. Well, the best they can find is he was part of one of the cannon details when he died. But that's the story about her ancestors. I just want to, you know, put it out there. And it was always interesting to me because we lived in Texas, and I heard about the Alamo a lot. Never went there. I know a lot of people have been there, and a lot of people would like to go there, but it was just an interesting story to me. But that's the story of some of her ancestors. Now, some of them might be bad too. But anyway, that's we're just sitting in here out of the wind. Got a warm fire and a pot of coffee, and I've been wanting to relay that for some time, and I hope you enjoy it. And that's enough for me right now.
Well, thanks for watching. Bye.